Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Mind Muscle Connection podcast. Today is a solo episode, and I want to dive into 3 reasons why you are not seeing the results that you want to see despite working hard, tracking calories. And then on top of that, I'm going to do 3 hidden reasons on top of, or 3 like overlooked things that go beyond training. But first, before I dive into that, as I mentioned in my last podcast, my performance recomp method is now open for enrollment. I'm going to do this through the 19th of September or before I fill up 3 spots there. That's just all I have capacity for at the moment. But again, it's my program that is designed to help you gain up to 3 to 5 pounds of muscle or 5 to 10 pounds of fat loss or 5 to 10 pounds of fat loss in 12 weeks there, right? Also, you're going to be able to have performance that you can feel. So stronger lifts, better conditioning, which means you're going to have more energy for family and life and work as well too, right? Like you also see work and anything that you need to improve from a performance standpoint will improve as well. And then health improvements, right? So you're going to feel like your old self again, better sleep, digestion, libido, mood, improved blood markers, whatever you're looking for there specifically with that, whatever you need to improve. But again, big thing being you're going to feel better on this well too. We're not going to grind you into the ground. I'll dive into this a little bit more towards the end of the episode, but with that out of the way, let's dive. And so if you are interested in that, there's a link in the show notes to check it out in more detail. Just go to the how you can work with me link. You can also reach out to me on Instagram, just DM me performance, and we can chat about it in more detail on there. So again, with that out of the way, let's dive into today's topic. 3 reasons you're stuck despite being consistent with training and nutrition. And again, I'm going to also go over 3 hidden reasons in more detail there. All right. So you never miss a workout. You've been tracking your calories and macros for years, but you just aren't seeing the physical change that you want to see. And maybe you just don't feel as great as you should. Like, again, you just don't feel like your old self, even though you are doing all the things you need to be doing. It's, okay, I'm eating clean, I'm tracking calories and macros, but I'm just not seeing that physical change. And I just don't feel as good as I typically do. And again, I don't feel great outside of the gym. I think number one, the big reason, again, you're consistent with training, you're going to the gym regularly, but your training is just super random, right? Work out consistently, but there's no progression, no structure. You're just chasing soreness, sweat, or calorie burn, right? So I see this a lot, and not to pick on these, I see this a lot when people only do like group classes, right? Again, these are great. Like, obviously, we want to get you moving. Like, that's going to be better than nothing. But if we're just randomly going in and doing things, and there's no form of progression, or again, the workouts, you're just doing a different workout every single time you go in, we're likely going to be missing out on seeing some results. Again, if you take someone who's not doing anything, like that's going to be better than not doing anything. So I'm always going to say we want to make sure that we are doing something because again, there's a lot of benefits from that. But again, if your training is just super random and it's just again based off of what you guys are like, what random being, and I don't want to just pick on group classes, but it's random and like, yeah, I just pick random workouts to do each day, or I don't even follow workouts. I just go in and do whatever. Again, it's like you're dedicating the time to this. It's obviously super important to you. So again, we want to get some sort of structure with your training, and we need it to be strategic with what you specifically need. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody having 1 class or 2 classes per week that they do if they like that community aspect, but I think we need some sort of anchor we need something that shows that we're progressing, or something that we can do that will progress what we're doing. So again, that can be, hey, I'm going to do 2 weight training sessions and 1 conditioning session. And in those 2 weight training sessions, again, maybe it's full body. We're focused on progressive overload, and we're making sure that you're getting stronger, and we're making sure that you're doing more over time. We're utilizing the concept of progressive overload, which we need to continue to get the body to adapt. And then maybe in your conditioning session, again, it's like 20 to 30 minutes, and we're focused on an output, and we're trying to progress that over time, whether that be we're trying to go for a longer time, we're trying to go faster, we're trying to do more, whatever it may be. We're trying to rest less, like whatever it is, we need to have some sort of anchor. And then the other 2 days, maybe you go and do some sort of group class there, right? So again, we just need some sort of anchor. Now, obviously, the more we can get a good base and the more structure we can get, the better off we're going to be, because the downside with doing random workouts is they can add our recovery as we get into our 30s and beyond. Our recovery capacity is somewhat limited. It's more limited, right? We have more stress on the body in general. We have more life responsibilities. We're probably a little less resilient than we were, say, in our 20s as well, too. And we are working within that constraint there as well. And so we need to make sure that is, for just adding in a bunch of training, and typically it's going to be training that is, when we go to these group classes and whatnot, they're usually high intense, pretty high output, and really just focused on like the feeling of working hard. In most cases, sometimes that's not the case. Like I said, I'm not trying to poo-poo on all group classes. We can definitely make it work, but if that's all it's based on, and you're training super consistently, and you're going 3-4 times a week, and you're not seeing the change, then this is where we need to come in, and we need to potentially look at things. there. So I think that's a big takeaway here with the training. It's not that you shouldn't ever do group classes or random workouts. You certainly can. But if you've been doing those for a while and you're not happy with your results, that's where we have to have an honest conversation about where you're at. And we need to get more structure with your training. So real results come from applying the right stimulus at the right time. So it's like if we're trying to see some sort of change, we have to provide the right stimulus because your body is going to adapt to whatever stimulus you give it. And if that stimulus is random, you're going to get random results and you're going to get random adaptations and maybe no adaptations there. The second mistake is people are only focused on the gym and calories. So it's like, hey, I'm tracking my calories and I'm going to the gym, so I should be good to go. But as we'll talk about here in the three kind of hidden reasons after I get through these initial three, things like stress load, poor sleep, circadian dysregulation, inconsistent movement, mental burnout can all impact the effectiveness of your workouts and calories. And we're also looking at, if we're not looking at okay, what is our food made up of as well too? How are we eating that food? Where's our things like that? We're missing the bigger picture here. So that's just a big thing that I see is it's like, hey, I've been super consistent. It's like, okay, what do you do? I go to the gym regularly and I've tracked my calories. And it's like when they track calories, it's just random. There's no guidance around it. It's just, hey, I'm just tracking my calories in MyFitnessPal and that's it. And just going to the gym. And there's in terms of, especially as we get 30 and older, we need to focus more on, those things are vitally important, but we need to focus on more than just how many calories you're eating and you just getting to the gym. Like I said, for the first one, getting to the gym is we need to stay active. We need to do things. That's the most important, but we need to go further than that. So the missing link to taking your results to the next level is tracking your biofeedback and improving your lifestyle outside of the gym. So we want to look at things besides just the scale, calories, and going to the gym. We need to look at how are you feeling? What does your digestion look like? Looking at blood work, your mood like, hunger levels, stress levels. Like we need to also look at those things, looking at certain metrics as well too, like where's your resting heart rate trending? Do you have data like that? Where are those things going? Because that's going to be the thing that's really going to help drive what state your body's in so we can move forward and actually see results. And this is especially for people who are over the age of 30. When you're 25, you probably can just go and do whatever you want and you'll get away with it and you'll probably see some sort of adaptation. So yeah. Number 3 is you're not adjusting to where your body is right now. Just because you want to be leaner doesn't mean your body's in the right state to get there at this exact moment. This is a huge thing that I see. Somebody wants to get leaner, so it's like, hey, now they just feel like they just should drop their calories, go and work out, and everything's going to be perfect and you're going to be good to go. But unfortunately, the body doesn't work that way. I'm not saying you need to do some sort of complex thing to get your body in the right state to adapt, but just dropping your calories and training hard for 2 weeks is not going to be the thing that's going to get you to lean out. We need to make sure that you're in the right state to be able to lean out and see adaptation. When we look at this, the first thing is just because you want to be leaner doesn't mean your body's in the right state to get there. And then 2, just because something worked in the past doesn't mean it will work now. So that's the other thing is, hey, I did this when I was in my 20s, or hey, I did this in my early 30s, or hey, I did this last time. And so now that's going to work this time. I did this program, so now I'm going to do that program. I did this diet, and so now that's going to work this time. And that's not necessarily the case. You have different things going on. Your body's in a completely different state than it was in most situations the last time you did that. And again, and then on top of it, you also have years of whatever you've been doing that are going to start to add up. And so your body's just in a different state and you need to adjust to that. And the state your body's in is really going to dictate how effective your current workout / calories are and what you need to focus on at this moment. And hint, it's not always a calorie deficit. It may not be that. Again, I think for a lot of people, that probably is a good thing to aim for. But if our body's not in a great state, our body is going to fight that. So if it's like, hey, we have a super high stress load on the body, we need to get that in check and start to bring that down. And then your body will be in a much better state to adapt. The same thing with training. Like maybe we need to adjust our training. Maybe we don't necessarily have to go do 5 group classes a week where you're burning the most calories possible. We probably need to get you to move more, to exercise, but we also need to manage our intensity and how much we do, especially considering if you have a high stress load or sleep is poor, or again, if you have any sort of other biofeedback where like you're super low energy, anything like that, that's a sign that there's, I don't want to say dysfunction, but that's a sign that something along the chain needs to be improved before you just try and push a calorie deficit. Now, the cool thing with this is when we do try and fix those things and making sure your lifestyle's in check, getting everything in line, making sure your training and nutrition is geared towards how much stress you have on your body, you typically find that people do improve their body composition when this happens. But I think the big takeaway here with this is if your body's not in a good place to adapt, just pushing harder and eating fewer calories isn't going to fix this. And so what I mean by that, again, is if you have a high stress load on the body and we're ignoring those things. So if you have full-time job, you have 3 kids, you're taking your kids to a bunch of games, throughout the week. You have other social responsibilities. You have to take care of your parents potentially a little bit. You have bills you need to pay. Like you have all these things going on. Your body's not in a state where you just push a bunch of training onto it and just you decrease your calories to 1,200 calories. It's just not going to be in a state to where it's going to adapt. You're going to really be battling. It's going to be an uphill battle when you do that. And so what we need to do in this situation is we need to figure out what is going to be the biggest thing that's going to put your body in a better position to want to adapt. Is it just getting more movement? Is it altering your training to match your current like recovery capacity? Is it finding ways to increase our recovery through stress management techniques, through taking stress off the body somewhere along the lines, getting you better sleep? Is it better nutrition, more high quality nutrition versus just eating ultra processed foods all the time? So again, it just depends on where you're at. But I think the biggest thing being is you need to make sure that you're in a good place to adapt. And that's where most people go wrong is they're not. They want to lose weight or they want to get leaner or they want to build muscle. And then they just try and push harder and harder. They throw more training on, they throw more protein on, they cut out more food. And then that's just going to make things worse at that point. And that's where, again, people end up just spinning their wheels. They push super hard for a short period of time, then they go backwards and then they don't do anything. And then this vicious cycle just continues. And so we need to break that and get your body into a spot where it's going to be more likely to adapt. So what you need isn't more effort, different macros, or another training program. You need a plan that matches your physiology, lifestyle, and goals here. So we need to make sure we're in a good spot there. So that's the top 3 ones. Now, I want to go over, alluded to these a little bit, but these are more so hidden reasons. So I hit on this. And by doing these things, I think these are going to get your body to be in a better place to be able to adapt to what you're trying to do. Like I talked about, that's a big thing. We're looking at how can we get our body in a position to actually be able to adapt. So I think the first overlooked thing is circadian rhythm health and meal timing. So how much you eat certainly matters, but when you eat and how aligned your routine is with your internal clock often gets overlooked. So at first, a dysregulated circadian rhythm, which kind of goes into meal timing, but it also goes into sleep as well too, will make everything less effective. So your digestion, mood, motivation, hunger, energy, recovery, even how your body handles calories will be not as effective as it could be if we get these 2 things dialed in. So common issues that will disrupt your circadian rhythm: eating too close to bedtime, inconsistent sleep and wake times, and shifting your meals with them. That's the other big thing too, is are you also like shifting your meals because you're changing that? Poor light exposure, so not enough sunlight early in the day and throughout the day, and then too much blue light at night. So if you're someone who works a full-time job, you're probably not ever getting outside. You're probably getting just a bunch of blue light, especially at night. Then you're probably scrolling your phone, and that's going to impact your circadian rhythm. And then in turn, that's going to make your body less effective and efficient at wanting to adapt from a body composition standpoint. And just really in general too, right? Caffeine too late in the day. So that's going to kill, and just too much. All these things are off. Sleep's impacted. Now you're tired the next day. So now you feel like you need more caffeine. And again, it's just this vicious cycle over and over there. And then doing high stimulation work right before bed, or just doing anything super stimulating within an hour before bed. So try and change that. Try and get into a nice kind of wind down routine and be relaxed heading into bed there. And then with meal timing, like I said, eating too close to bedtime. So having like really large, heavy meals, high carb, ultra processed type meals right before bed, that's going to wreck your circadian rhythm and your sleep. And again, it's just going to be that vicious cycle that I talked about. Higher hunger cravings the next day, so on and so forth. And so we're also looking at, hey, can we potentially move our meals to earlier in the day? And I think moving our meals to earlier in the day and then just being smarter with our nutrition choices at night. If dinner is going to be our biggest meal in the day, we just need to make sure that it's as far away from sleep as possible. And if we do want to eat closer to bed, we probably want it to be higher protein. And then trying to get more of our calories earlier in the day, which is counterintuitive to what most people do there. So fix these and your entire system works better, from hormones to hunger to recovery. And now your body's already in a much better position now to where you're going to have less friction in terms of trying to change your body. Number 2, low daily movement. You can crush your workouts, but if your step count is low or just movement outside of the gym is low and you're just sedentary most of the day, your body comp and metabolic health and even just cognition is going to be impacted. This doesn't mean you need to get 20,000 plus steps per day, but movement outside the gym is one of the most underrated body comp tools out there, and a lever that most people skip. They go to these group classes or just training in general. I don't want to just pick on group classes, but they go to these classes, they work out, they train super hard for an hour, and then that's it. They're just super sedentary the rest of the day. And this is going to impact your body composition and your metabolic health over time. So if you're someone who has higher glucose, maybe higher A1C, this is definitely something that we want to make sure we get dialed in ASAP. And also I think the big thing being though, limiting sedentary time. So limiting how often you are sedentary is just going to be absolutely crucial in this process. So we need to make sure that we're getting in more movement outside of the gym. Also, getting movement in after your meals can be super helpful to help with blood sugar regulation, metabolic health, which in turn is going to help improve your body composition. Again, this is going to be something that is going to lead to less friction in terms of body comp change. So if you're getting 7,000 steps per day or less outside of your training sessions, we need to make sure we bump that up there. I think you can go anywhere from probably 10 to 20K per day is a good number to shoot for. If you're finding that you can't hit 10K, then we just want to try and get as high as we can there. Probably over 8,000 per day. To me, 8,000 would be the minimum that we would want to hit per day on that. And then, like I said, limiting sedentary time, and then getting movement in around your meals is going to be super helpful. So number 3, and this is a huge one, and this is probably one of the biggest ones that is going to keep people from getting their body to be in a good spot to adapt, is a high overall stress load on the body. So you might feel mentally okay, but physiologically you could be maxed out. And sometimes I think these go hand in hand. So chronic undereating combined with, say, high training output, too high or too low body fat levels, poor sleep, low micronutrients, circadian disruption, poorly managed training stimulus, unmanaged life stress, all this falls into the same stress bucket. It's commonly called your allostatic load. So it's just how much your body can handle. And your body can only handle so much before things start to overflow. So the goal isn't to eliminate all stress, though, because we do want some, we need some, we obviously need some stress. We want some training. We want to sometimes be in a deficit, which is going to be a stressor on the body. We want to do challenging things that are going to challenge us mentally and physically, dosed right. So we do need some stress, but what I see, especially with people over 30 and who are really focused on their body composition, they just have a lot of stress on their body, and that's causing them to not be in a good position to actually adapt. And what happens, you just keep trying to pour more and more stuff on a larger deficit. And then that leads to more lower micronutrients. That leads to potentially further circadian disruption. Now you have low body fat levels and you're in a deficit. These are all going to be stressors that continue to add up. Like I said, the goal isn't to eliminate all stress, it's to manage your total load. That means pulling back on the wrong stressors while strategically applying the right ones. When you balance your overall stress load, your recovery improves, your nervous system regulates, and your body finally has the space to change. It's in a better position to want to change there. So I have my 3-step framework that I do within it. We need to reduce and remove unnecessary stressors, so as many as we can. And that sometimes is we have to do an audit to figure out what that is and what somebody's willing to give up. From there, we need to adjust our training and nutrition to match that. So if you have a super high stress load on your body, then maybe for a period of time, we need a large deficit's not going to work for you. Maybe we need to really bump up our diet quality. Maybe from a training perspective, again, it's, hey, you're training 6 days a week, super high intensity. We probably need to back off that a little bit. Maybe we still need to train, we still need to do movement, but we need to do some lower intensity type movement for you. Or maybe somebody only trains once a week and it's, hey, we need to bump that up. Like we need to get you moving more. So it's not always just doing less, but in a lot of situations, especially if you listen to this podcast, it probably is less intensity and maybe a little less overall. So it's also figuring that out. And then the third is we want to build your stress resiliency over time. That's the big thing. We need to build your stress capacity and resiliency over time. We do that by dialing in all these things and then having these stressors that are just going to continue to push you further and further ahead. You're not doing some massive stressor, but you're going to do something that's continue to build that. So that's putting you in some uncomfortable situations, challenging yourself mentally, doing some things that get you out of your comfort zone. Like these are all things that we can do to help build that stress resiliency. Also, building your cardiovascular system can help increase your stress resiliency. Getting stronger and building muscle can help build your stress resiliency as well too. And then lastly, I have a bonus one as well too here on this. So poor cardiovascular fitness. So if your aerobic base is weak, you'll recover slower and fatigue faster. Rest and during training equals lower stress resilience. Your body will also be less effective and efficient at body comp change. So if our aerobic base is weak, that essentially means that everything that we do, whether that's training or moving around or anything like that, it's going to have a higher fatigue cost on the body, which means over time, there's less things that we can do. So by improving our cardiovascular fitness, we're able to build our stress resiliency because we can recover faster, we can do more, and it has less cost on the body, and it raises our bucket as well. The issue, though, is that most people either do too much intensity or too much volume, which now adds stress to an already overloaded system. Somebody might hear this and be like, oh, that's why I do group classes. Like I get my heart rate up and it's really good for conditioning to an extent, but too much of that where it's just all focused on output and training as hard as you can, that's where we can run into some issues. Or people just skip it entirely, leading to poor recovery and low stress resilience. I would say if I'm looking at this, if I want to be super general here, and bucket one, the too much intensity in cardio and too much volume from a cardio perspective is more women. People who skip it entirely, leading to poor recovery and low stress resilience, typically is men. Now, there are obviously that's not always the case 100%, but I would say if I had to generalize, that's the case. I see too many women just typically doing cardio, but it's the intensity, it's not in line. It's just all intense, trying to get your heart rate as high as possible. And then men, it's just getting them to do conditioning is super challenging because, I just need to lift weights and we're missing out. And so I think if anything, men need to increase what they're doing. Women need to just be smarter about how they go about their cardiovascular fitness and cardiovascular training. But again, a strong aerobic system is going to make everything else work better if programmed properly. It's not just for runners, it's a multiplier for performance, recovery, and body comp there. So again, these are exactly the kinds of levers I work on inside the performance recomp method, right? Because real body composition change takes more than perfect macros and hard training. It takes a smart physiology first approach that helps your body actually adapt. So if there's one takeaway, our goal here is to get your body in a position where it actually adapts, right? That's again where most programs go wrong, right? It's more just eat less, train more, feel worse. And then when it stalls, it's hey, just try harder and be more disciplined. That might help you get results for a little while or for a short period of time. But eventually your body taps out and now we're in this, hey, I'm this on-off cycle, or hey, I'm just spinning my wheels here. I don't know what's going on. So again, we do it differently inside the performance recomp method. We have personalized training matched to your schedule, recovery, and needs, not just another, hey, push you to the ground training program. Adaptive nutrition coaching guided by biofeedback, not just random calorie cuts, seeing what you're actually eating, how's your body actually responding. We take data plus biofeedback to drive decisions, not just, oh, hey, scale weight's not going down, we need to work harder. And then adjustments are going to be based on stress and recovery so your body can actually adapt. And this is going to lead to you getting leaner, stronger, and more energized without you running into the ground. So like I talked about in this program, you're going to have a physique that matches your effort. We can expect up to 3 to 5 pounds muscle gain and or 5 to 10 pounds fat loss in 12 weeks. You're going to perform better in and out of the gym, and you're going to have health improvements. You're going to feel like your old self again. So you're going to feel good as well too. So who's this program for? It's for those spinning your wheels despite working hard and eating. Maybe you're eating 1,200 calories and not seeing results. You're constantly run down from trying to do everything right. You just haven't been feeling like yourself despite tracking and going to the gym. You're tired of being on or off again. You don't want to have to stress over every social event, every calorie eaten, and you're just ready for a smarter, more complete approach to training, nutrition, and recovery. This program is not for you if you're looking for a quick fix or crash diet. You're not willing to take feedback and learn. You want results without making changes, and you just want to follow a program and meal plan. So again, the enrollment is open for the performance recomp method. I'm going to keep it open until the 19th, or I fill 3 spots. So whatever comes first there. So don't wait. If you are interested in this, you can message me on Instagram, just say performance recomp method, or there's a link in the show notes that will go over this program in a bit more detail. So let me know if you guys have any questions on this, and I'll chat with you soon.